Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. My name is Crown, and today I'm going to read you some very interesting stories that I hope that you're gonna love. And now, without further ado, let's go! This is an amusing one since I was the out of work here lady and I feel like an idiot. Yesterday I ordered breakfast for takeout. When I pulled into the curbside spot, there was a sign that said to call and someone would bring my order out. Since I was in a hurry, I thought this would be convenient, so I called. At the same time, I got a text saying my order was ready. I waited for about 5 minutes and no one had come out, so I decided to save the worker a trip and just got and picked it up. Note, I'm never ever rude to workers unless they are rude to me first, and in this case, no one was directly rude, but they weren't helpful either. I walked in and went to the takeout counter. I waited a few minutes, but no one came. There is another counter before that where the hostess stands, and there was a girl in a pair of khakis and a red polo standing behind the counter. That was a restaurant's uniform and she was behind the counter. At that moment, I saw a table was carry out orders and mine was there. It was already paid for, so I grabbed the bag. At this point, I was frustrated because I waited outside and no one came, and then inside without anyone helping me. As I was leaving, I said to the girl, "You know, it would help if your team was available when customers come pick up their orders." She looked at me and said, "Ma'am, I don't work here." I immediately felt awful. I apologized profusely and said I mistook her for an employee because she was wearing a similar outfit and behind the counter. She didn't seem amused and just said that she was back there because there was a stool and she wanted to sit down. I laughed and told her she really fooled me. She then moved the stool and said I wasn't the first one to say something to her, but it made her never want to work there because the staff didn't seem to be helping anyone. My family owns a few cabins up in Michigan that we rent out throughout the year. We have one that is our main one. It's on a lake, perched on a hill, so you can see it from far away. My siblings and I all have kids now and are all in our 30s. So someone is usually up there from April through November with maybe a few empty weekends here and there. Our neighbor on the bottom of the hill suck. They are a couple from out west who ripped down the two old cottages on a land they bought and built an ugly modern-looking home that would fit in a large city rather on a lake. The bad thing about building such a large home is the lack of yard space, and they love to cry to us about how their kids have no backyard, and if we could sell some of our yard to them, it would be great. Well, we love our yard. It's big enough that we had 2 weddings there. Can have a full family reunion with 100 plus people and still have room to play cornhole or other yard games without being in a way. So every time this family has asked to purchase a part of it, we say no. We do have an old chicken wire fence between the properties and we have grass, whereas they have just a forest floor around their home. So it's really easy to see where the 2 properties stop. So just last weekend, my dad got a call from one of our other neighbors. They saw the bad neighbor up on a hill walking around our cabin with a few other people she did not recognize. So my dad did what every homeowner would do and called the cops. He is drinking buddies with a few of them during the warmer months, so they were out to go check the place out really quick. Now this part is all from the cop my dad is friends with. Turns out when they got there, the bad neighbor was walking around with her friends trying to set up a kid's outdoor winter park in the snow. The cops asked if she had permission and she lied to their faces, saying she was in the process of closing on a land and that she's ripping the cabin down to turn it into a small snow park for the area. Well, the cops told her that she was trespassing, that they were called here by the owner who they were friends with. I guess the bad neighbor got really quiet and started to try and walk away, but was arrested along with her friends for trespassing. I guess they also laid into the ladies that if a kid got hurt while they were out here illegally, they would be liable for anything. And then he said he's recommending my family put up a restraining order if she's caught up there again. This isn't the first time she has been on our property without permission. We have caught her out on our dock smoking, and she has picked a few of our veggies from the summer garden, both of which are on the other side of the hill from her. We're going up there once it gets warm enough to install more cameras, as right now we only have ones above the doors and garages. A little backstory: my family is a bunch of nerds. Whenever we head out of the house and there is a nearby library or bookstore, we usually go inside and check out books and art stuff. But we were well-rounded nerds because not only did we like books, we were pretty athletic. My maternal grandfather was in the military, my father was a varsity volleyball player, and my mom loved playing basketball. So to keep in touch with the athletic side, my parents enrolled my sister and I to a karate class, despite both of us being overweight for our ages. This bit is important later on, so keep this in mind. So when I was around 5 years old, this was like 12 years ago, so my memory is kinda blurry, my family and I went out to have some dinner. My younger sister and I pointed to a bookstore and asked if we could go in, and they allowed us. My parents let my sister and I run off towards the kid book sections. You know, Geronimo Stilton and the like, which was on the other side of the floor we were in. So we were doing our thing, reading, gathering a small stack of books and stuff when this big 10-year-old boy came up to us. My sister was very shy and very paranoid of strangers. She didn't speak and just had this worried look on her face. But I, on the other hand, liked making friends. So I thought that he wanted to do such. I said hi and stuff, you know, little girl things. And then, I don't exactly remember, he started making fun of us. It wasn't like an annoying kind of taunting yet, just saying that we were nerds and stuff about enjoying reading. I don't know why he did this, he's probably insecure or entitled, but whatever. I was a pretty sensitive kid, so I didn't take that too kindly. I told him the benefits of reading: makes you smart, expands your grammar, though then I think I worded it as it teaches you new words and how my sis and I are not nerds, but he just kept going and going, eventually getting more annoying and more offensive as he went. Then he started commenting on my weight and calling me ugly, and that's when I broke down. I started tearing up, calling him out for his bullying. I specifically remember telling him, "You're the ugly one. You're ugly on the inside and will show on the outside. The only beautiful person has a heart of gold." Yeah, very deep for a 5-year-old. Honestly, I was just parroting what my mom and preschool teachers taught me. Anyways, he just continued to laugh and point out at me. And when I had enough, I ran away crying. Mind you, my sister witnessed the whole thing but was too afraid to say anything. Yet, this is a revenge part. Now, my mom taught my sister and me that there are only two of us, telling us that we only have one sibling and that if we lose one another, we can never get her back. This caused my sister and me to have a strong bond. So when she saw me running away and crying, she saw red. I, for some reason, didn't run to my parents but hid in a corner near the area I left my sister and a bully in. I could see that area but couldn't hear anything. The bully moved on from me and moved on to my little sister. My sister's face was red and she was crying too. I felt so bad when I remembered what my mom said, so I stood up to defend her when the best thing happened. She yelled out something. I don't remember what she had said, but according to my dad, who was on his way to stop the whole thing, when he went over to check on us, she had said, "I know karate." And with that, she kicked and punched him hard in the face when the big bully doubled over to clutch his junior jewels. What makes this better is that he started to cry and he ran away, sobbing and red-faced, yelling, "I'm gonna tell on you to my mommy." My sister did not care, she was just seething. Just imagine a little 4-year-old girl dicking a boy who was twice her age in size and making him cry. I was shocked throughout the whole thing. I don't remember what happened after because my mom left my sister and me with my grandparents at the entrance of the bookstore, but apparently the parents of the bully were embarrassed and apologized for their son's behavior. Moral of the story? Don't screw with my sister. And don't screw with quiet nerds. So this happened about a week ago and I honestly am still fuming from this. I'm not sure if this belongs in a subreddit, but here goes. First, a little backstory. I am a mixed ethnicity individual. I've been confused for many races over the course of my 29 years on this planet, but I'm literally Caucasian and African American. Usually, it can be figured out, but the difference with me is my father is a Caucasian, so therefore my hair is straight. I am originally from Texas and I'm usually confused for being Mexican. But now I live in Massachusetts and I've never had an issue with anyone concerning my race until this day. Also, I am married to a Caucasian woman who had a child before we were married. His father is not in his life as much, and I took the responsibility because I love this woman and I love this little boy as if he were my own. He's 4 now, and I've been in his life since he was 1. Anyways, on to the story. My wife needed a few things from the grocery store and she needed to run a few more errands. And usually she just goes and knocks things out herself because I'm sleepy. I work nights. But this particular day I happened to be awake and I offered to go for her. She works hard and does a lot, so I definitely felt it was necessary to do something for her so she could just relax for the day. I took my son with me so she could rest up and just take it easy, and it gave me time to spend with my son for some bonding. We completed all of the errands which went smoothly and then headed to the grocery store to finish up our day. My son, being a typical 4-year-old, was full of energy, running ahead of me, laughing and speaking to everyone he came across, which I generally don't mind as long as he doesn't hit anyone and stays within eye view. As I'm making my way down an aisle looking for canned corn, my son jogs to the end of it when an older lady is entering at the other end. My son, being the sweet social butterfly he is, approached and exclaimed an excited hi. "Me for, and me Ryan." Bless his little heart. The lady looked down and said, "Well, hello there. You shouldn't be running around unattended. Let's go find your parents." I didn't think anything of her statement because I assumed she just hadn't seen me. "Ryan, come back here, bud, please." He excitedly runs back towards me and starts turning in circles because, well, he's 4. I'm still searching the shelves as a lady walks past me and stops behind me. Again, I think nothing of it because, well, it's a grocery store and you have to share the aisles. I turn my basket around and start to walk toward the front cash registers when this lady literally blocks my path. I say excuse me and try to walk around her and she moves her cart in front of me again. I honestly thought she was just getting confused and said excuse me once again and tried one more time to go around, but she just blocks my path. And then the following conversation ensues. I tell her, sorry about that, we will get out of your way." "Oh, I don't think so. You're not going anywhere with that child." "You mean my son?" "That's not your child. He's white and you're Mexican. You probably didn't even know his name until he said it to me." "Sure, whatever, lady. Can you just move? My wife is at home and anxiously awaiting us." "Stop your lies. You're not taking him anywhere, you pervert." This whole time my son is standing close to me holding my leg because he was honestly getting scared. I was getting angry because I hadn't had much sleep and I have a short fuse anyway. "Thanks, Dad." I tell her, as you can see he's standing close to me because he trusts me and you're scaring him. So how about you buzz off? "No, he's scared because of you. He just doesn't know how to express it yet." She looks at my son. "Come on now, sweetie. I'm here to rescue you. Come with me." Thankfully, my son was able to communicate to her he wasn't going anywhere with her, but she was having none of it. She literally grabbed my son and began to run. It caught me off guard because I honestly couldn't fathom what was actually happening. My son starts screaming loudly because he was so scared. And this lady is just like, "Don't worry, sweetie. He won't hurt you, I promise." Suddenly, I snap back into reality, and I begin to chase after this crazy wench. While running through the store, I yell for people to stop her and that she's kidnapping my son, and thankfully a worker stops her before she makes the exit. "Why are you stopping me? This Mexican here is trying to kidnap my grandson." My son literally is bawling his eyes out and extending his arms out calling for me. This lady was relentless. I would not let go until my son, even after he slaps her face multiple times. I laughed a little, not gonna lie. At this point, the manager shows up and asks what's going on. The lady spoke before me. "This," pointing at me, "pervert is trying to kidnap my grandson and I was just trying to escape." "That's my son, you freaking psycho. Now let him go." The manager didn't know what to believe. I don't blame him, he was caught in a weird situation. So I pulled out my phone and showed him pictures of me and my son that dated a year or so back as a proof. This lady still would not give up and accused me of faking them. Like, how would you do that exactly? I'll never know, but whatever. Sadly, there were two other ladies there taking the psycho's side and said I was attempting to kidnap my own son because there was no way we were family because of our different skin tones. One even called the police, which I was actually happy about because I knew they would be able to review the security cameras. Even still, I called my wife to see if she could come to the store to get this situation cleared up quicker. As soon as I told her what was going on, she zoomed to the store. She got there about the same time as the police. The crazy ladies were giving their statement to the cops when my wife walked in. As soon as she walked in, my son went, "Mama, help!" My wife is a true mama bear and she immediately flew into a rage when she saw this lady holding my son. "Let him go now," she shouts. "Sorry, sweetie, I was just trying to protect him from this pervert over here." Another lady says, "Yeah, we saw him trying to kidnap him, but this lady saved him." The cops look at the lady and is confused. He says, "I thought this was your grandson." My wife says, "I have no idea who that lady is." She takes out her phone and shows the officer a picture of my mother-in-law. "Okay, I'm sorry, he is not my grandson, but I was only trying to protect him from this dirty pervert over here." "Yeah, I witnessed the whole thing. He snatched that child and tried to run away with him, but this lady stopped it." "Yeah, I saw it too. He needs to be arrested. And you," pointing to my wife, "should be thankful that this lady was here to save your son, because you obviously just let him loose wherever." "What are you talking about again?" my wife asks them. All three crazy ladies pointed at me. "Oh, you mean my husband?" "Husband?" "Yeah, who do you think called me and got me here so fast?" I presented my ID to the officer and the manager, and my wife did the same as well. We also each showed pictures of us on our phones to prove we were really a family. The cop nodded in approval and handed us our phones back and jotted down a few notes. The three ladies, for some reason, still kept trying to say this was all fake and my wife was in on the kidnapping, and said we needed to be arrested. My wife lost it at this point and let off some colorful words I won't repeat here, but she definitely got her point across. Then the nail in the coffin came from that psycho trio. The officer turned to the manager and asked, "Sir, do the cameras work here?" "Yes, we have them inside and out." "Okay, great, let's go review." The three ladies' faces went pale, like ghostly pale. The officer reviewed the outside camera as I pulled into the parking lot and saw me take my son out of the car, and then as I went up and down the aisles. And most importantly, the instant the woman snatched up my son and began to run. Upon his return, he asks, "Would you like to press charges?" "Yes, I would." "Why would I be asking you that question? Shut your mouth and sit down." He turns to me and repeats the question. I tell him, "Absolutely." The lady was charged with attempted kidnapping, false imprisonment, providing a false police report, and child endangerment. The other two were also charged with providing a false police report as well. To make matters worse for Lady 1, my son bruises easily and she left some terrible spots on him from where she was grasping him, but he's fine. This added a charge of child abuse to her rap sheet. I have court later this year, but I'm not sure when because COVID. The officer will be following up with me in a few weeks. And now we have reached the end of today's stories. Thank you for watching and see you next time.